National Assembly Joint Committee on Finance on Monday threatened to stop the federal government grants to the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board in the 2025 budget proposal. The position of the committee was informed by the presentation made by Jamb Registrar Prof. Isaka Oloyede, who appeared before the Joint Committee of the Senate and House of Representatives to defend the agency's 2025 budget proposal. Giving a breakdown of the performance of the Jamb's 2024 budget, Oloyede said the agency remitted 4 billion naira to the Consolidated Revenue Fund, while it got a grant of 6 billion naira from the federal government. These did not go down well with the committees as members Abiodun Faleke and Senator Adams Oshimole, APC Edo, questioned why a self-funding agency should be getting allocations from the federal government. You spent 1.1 billion naira on meals and refreshments. Are you being freely fed by the government? What this means is that you are spending the money you generate from poor students, many of them orphans. You also spent 850 million naira on security, cleaning and fumigation in 2024. What did you fumigate? Is it mosquitoes that took all this money, Oshimole queried. The former Edo State governor also slammed Jamb for spending 600 million naira on local travels, even as he called on Oloyede to justify the 6.5 billion naira on local training. Quickly, retired Ayotamuno. I would love to get your thoughts on this. This is actually, well...
Well, the story is very clear.
Okay.
Whatever the Senate is doing, it's a Senate committee. And so whatever the committee is doing is within their oversight responsibility, oversight function.
Okay.
I set out in, I think, Section 88 and then Section 89 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999 as amended. So they are doing what is right within their oversight mandates. But again, we have to go back to look at a whole lot of issues. First, while we have come to recognize Jamb as self-financing in the sense that I recall that before Oloyede came to the scene, that it was almost like deficits. At the end of the day, every year, the returns to the Federation accounts from Jamb was very minimal until he came to the scene. And since then, he has been able to at least maximize resources, cut down on expenses, and every year he also sends a quantum, sizable amount of money in billions back to the Federation accounts.
Well, they still get government grants.
Yes,
okay.
That's where I'm coming, because I'm also surprised that Jamb still gets government grants. I thought that Jamb had long gone beyond this. But again, getting government grants, we also have to look at what is the purpose? What is the purpose? The social content, because we are talking about the social sector now, just like health and education. Is it augments? Is that grants meant to augment whatever Jamb is supposed to be raking in, you know, annually, Now, that is another issue, because if, especially when we talk about the social sector, oftentimes you have to look at the objectives, you know, that the goals that are achieved. And most times you find some measure of subsidy, subsidizing such services. But now that these issues have come up, there are some critical areas that Oshomola has mentioned. For instance, he talked about the issue of feeding, you know, over 800 and something million for feeding, and which he said, are you feeding now? Are you using poor people's money, orphans to feed and the like, and then fumigation and others? But I quickly want to react to the fact that even before it got to this point, now that these issues have come up, some of these things are also political statements, we may not have gone into the nitty-gritty of the expenditure in terms of, it might be feeding, because one of the issues that was questioned is also that of training, allocation to training. So I am believing that we also have another section that first and foremost should have dealt with this. Of course, the Office of the Auditor General. Okay. Accounts are audited every year. Can we also look at what the Auditor General's office had also written? Because the Constitution in Section 85 and 86 also gives ample powers to the Office of the Auditor General in terms of auditing the accounts, of MDAs. So let us also look at it.
All right, thank you.
In line with that. Otherwise, we just take a sweeping statement, by politicians that, look, the expenditure is this way or is that way. Let's look at the basics. What's the expenditure? What and what? It's not just to say for feeding and then at the end of the day, if you're not careful, you criminalize public officers that have diligently done their jobs. But I think Jamb under Oloyede has really done well. Okay,
thank you on that. Mufasa, quickly, I'd love to get your thoughts concerning this. Please, what do you have to say?
Well, like what our Ogaya said, the National Assembly, they have a duty to embark on, oversight responsibility. And to that extent, they ought to demand accountability from, people who are saddled with the responsibility to oversee government institutions. But my quarrel with some of these, some of these actions is that it seems to be an unending drama, okay? And this is not the first time we are seeing this kind of probe panel. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm yet to see actions, punitive actions taken to, maybe to serve as a deterrent or to also boost the efficiency of, the said head of the Ministry of Departments and Agencies of Government. Now, let me even look at the purpose. Talking about purpose, what is the purpose of setting up Jamb? Is it for the agency to generate revenue to run the states, or is for that body to organize a befitting, examination process that will usher in students into higher institutions? Because there's no gainsaying the numerous challenges, that students, people who are looking for admission into the universities are facing. Just in the recent times, they came up with computer-based and all of that, and I can tell you for free that they've not been able to perfect it. We hear of network challenges. We hear of people not being able to sit for the exams. We hear of shortage of materials in terms of computers and all of that. And if all these monies are being earmarked for the agency to come up and organize a a befitting process, then why are we talking about what is coming in and what is going out? Because it seems as though they are interested in what the agency is bringing back to the government coffers. If certain amount was budgeted for the agency to run effectively and equally get grant of over 6 billion naira, and people are still complaining that they were unable to sit for the exams. Students are still complaining of low network. So how come Jamb as a body has not been able to get, if possible, you get assistance from outside the country, you get professionals who are grounded in tech, so that we can build a central system where if you register for the exams, you are in fact, you know that the process will be issue-free. Then we can begin to query the process if it fails, placing it side by side with the amount of money that the agency gets to run itself.
Okay.
But if we continue to put so much emphasis on how much the agency is bringing back to the coffers of government,
then we'll be getting
we'll be getting the whole thing mixed up somewhere. So that is my position. If the professor is queried on the process, how the process has been flawed by some of these things that, for me, it's not rocket science to set it up in a befitting manner, I'll be satisfied. But like I've said before, it's like an unending drama. You know, of course, they have a responsibility as, you know, the National Assembly to do oversight and all of that. And like I've also said, that I have actually not seen any head of government parastatals, whether it's a minister or something, you know, being slammed with punitive measures to serve as because they have to sit up.
To serve as detriment.
Yes, they have to sit up. If you are given a responsibility and you are given money to ensure that you achieve what is desired of you to achieve in that responsibility, I do not think you have any excuse to give. But the moment you begin to put, you know, what the agency gets, like for instance, we're talking about agencies that, okay, the police, for instance, the customs service, you are giving them targets. You think they will take their primary responsibility seriously? What they will put in the front burner for them is how much they will be able to generate for the system. Whereas the entire process, the entire, you know, responsibility given to you is flawed. So that is my angle to the you know, the discussion.
Okay, thank you on that, Mufasa.